So good afternoon, everybody. Good morning and good afternoon. January 19th, 2021. And we're here to talk about recent developments in the new Metadata Editor. This is Yoel Kortick, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and we're joined also by Itai Veltzman from Product Management. And we're going to be going through 4 major developments in the new Metadata Editor. We're going to be showing those developments live. However, please be advised that there are presentations on each of the developments. I'm here. In fact, let me go into Chrome and show this. So I'm now in the Knowledge Center. And as you can see here, I'm under Alma Training, Extended Training, Presentations and Documents, Resource Management. I'm going to send out to the chat that link one more time. So now it's been sent twice. Those of you watching the recording, you can come here and navigate Alma Training, Extended Training, and Presentations and Documents, Resource Management. And you see here, we have links to all of the new Metadata Editor sessions that we have given. And today we're talking about the 19 January 2021 session. 19 January, it's a significant day for other reasons as well. Not only because we're giving the new Metadata Editor session, but other reasons as well. And let's begin. So the first topic, and by the way, I'm not even going to show the PowerPoints. I showed them briefly in this morning's session, and it turned out it wasn't even necessary to show them. We'll go live. The PowerPoints you can look at on your own as you need, and everybody knows how to read and look at a PowerPoint, so I really don't see a need to show everybody the PowerPoints. Let's just pop right in and start showing. So I'm going to log in. I'm in a standard January release. It's the same January release that you all have. I'm not in. Oh, somebody said happy birthday. Yes, today is my 50th birthday. And like I said in the earlier session, I really can't think of a more exciting way, I say this with full seriousness, of celebrating my 50th birthday. I can't think of a more exciting way than showing recent developments in the new Metadata Editor. So here we are, and the first topic we want to show is copy cataloging side-by-side workflow. Now, this is a topic many of you brought to our attention that it was lacking. The way to copy catalog was lacking. People couldn't see the record they started with. So let's take a look at how that works. And I'm in the new Metadata Editor. I'm going to switch actually to the new Metadata Editor. Those of you who are not yet using the new Metadata Editor, I'm going to show you how to switch. You go into the Metadata Editor, and then there's a link on the top right of the Metadata Editor to switch to the new Metadata Editor. So any of you who are not using the new Metadata Editor, you can switch to the new Metadata Editor. And as of right now, the new Metadata Editor supports all functionality except for the rules, the normalization rules, merge rules, etc. And that will be coming soon, and we'll have another session on that. That's this tab right here, which says rules, and it's grayed out. So you can switch back and forth by clicking here. I'm in the new Metadata Editor. You can go back to the old editor here. And it's highly recommended that you start using the new Metadata Editor. Get used to it. We're sure you'll enjoy it. It's gone through a lot of changes as it's been being rolled out. We've got a group of users helping us test it. So a lot of changes are constantly going on. So let's talk about the copy cataloging. So I'm going to take a sample record here. This one here. This is City Woman Contemporary. Let's take a look at what this says. City Woman Contemporary Taiwan Women Writers. Okay, so let's say now that I want to search for this in another source. And then when I find it in the other source, I want to either merge it with this record, perhaps I'll do overlay and replace this record. So first of all, I don't have to, but it's will be useful if I collapse parts of the metadata editor that I don't really need open right now, because I want to take advantage of the full screen, the full web real estate. So anyone who was in our session on the new Alma UI layout will recall that this navigation pane on the left can be collapsed. So we'll save some space there. So I'll come here to the search and manage Alma links on the top left, collapse the menu, and now that's collapsed and we've got a little more room. Now, if I want a lot more room, I can also collapse the navigation pane here on the left. So here on the bottom, I'm going to click where it says collapse records list. And now that's collapsed. So now I've got a lot of room just for the metadata editor. And here I'll take, excuse me, the search and browse menu and say search resources. And that now will get filled in automatically with the data from the record that I have opened. So it filled in the title, filled in the ISBN, filled in the year, filled in what's called here the system number, which is coming from the 035. You've got the 5255, et cetera, which is coming right from here. That's actually not new. That happened also in the old editor. I'm just mentioning that that's what happens. And now I can change here. For example, maybe I only want the ISBN here, and I'll search by ISBN. I'm searching, in this case, I have a profile which includes Library of Congress and WorldCat, and I'll search. So let's see what's going to happen. I found a record in Library of Congress. Now that's interesting, the same ISBN, and it's called Crayons Rock. Very interesting. So let's try that again. I will get rid of this. That is interesting. It's called Crayons Rock, and it's got the same ISBN. Okay, those of you who are cataloging experts probably have an explanation for that. But at WorldCat, I switched tabs here. For WorldCat, it really is the same one. So at Library of Congress, there's an ISBN like that with a different record. Okay, so I'll choose one of these. Now watch what's going to happen. When I did the search, the record that I had open, it became collapsed here on the left. I'm going to do the whole process again later, just so everybody sees. Now I'm going to describe what's happening. When I did the search and I viewed the results, the record I had open got collapsed here on the left. If I put my mouse on it, I'll get the information. It says City Woman, Contemporary Taiwan Women Writers, et cetera, et cetera. The screen is here, the search screen, and I could just search again. That would be equivalent to what was called in the old metadata editor, refined search. I can search again here. And I've got the records on the right, the results. Now watch what happens when I open it. I'll tell you in advance and then you'll see. If I click view on any of these records, the record which I do view on will open, and the record which is now collapsed, the record I started with, will also open. So I'm going to do view. Here we go. And now I've got both records side by side. That's a true side by side. Now let's start all over again and go through a full flow, because when I keep stopping in the middle, we're not really seeing a full flow, but I wanted to stop in the middle on purpose so you'd see what's happening. So let's do it all over again. So I'm going to close this one that I see here. I'm going to close the search. And now I'm starting from scratch. So I've got a record open. I want to go somewhere else and find it. And I'm going to overlay. Now notice that my record here says edited by Ava Hung and Alicia Hen. And it also has a 700 field here with Alicia Hen as the editor. That's something I added because I wanted this record to be slightly different than the one I'm going to find somewhere else, so we will see that it really gets overridden. overlaid. So let's do it again. So everything is collapsed, just so I have extra room, but again, it's not mandatory, but I may as well take advantage of full web real estate. So we'll choose the search and browse, search resources, choose whichever resource we want. This time I'm going to take just WorldCat. And I will get anything. This time I'm going to take anything with the phrase City Woman from 2001. Search. Now watch, when they do the results, that record on the left is going to get collapsed automatically. The search screen that we're looking at now is going to move to the left. And on the right, we're going to have the search results. There we go. So the record that was open is here now, collapsed. The search options are right here in the middle. In my right, and in the right, I've got the results. Now, what I said was the refined search is the ability now to change the search results. Excuse me, the search options. So let's put in here contemporary, and that's already going to make it a much smaller amount. Search. So now I did what was in the old metadata editor, refined search. I changed my search options, and I'm searching again. And now, again, I've got results. Now I've got 18 results. And let's go through here and see. Here we go. So now I want this record. So now I'm going to do view. When I do view, the search screen will disappear. The original record, which I had open, which is now collapsed on the left, will open and be right next to the record that I'm viewing. So here we go. View. And now I have both records open side by side. And now I can do the import, or I can do the copy and overlay, or the merge, or whatever I'd like to do. I'm going to do the overlay. Now, again, you see the record that's coming in says edited by Ava Hung, and it does not have a 700 field, which is by Alicia Hen, the editor, and also does not have in my 245 statement of responsibility. This one says edited by Ava Hung and Alicia Hen, and this one only says in the statement of responsibility, edited by Ava Hung. So now if I do overlay, execute, now it's going to give me just my record. And it really did overlay, because now my 245 no longer says and Alicia Hen, and I no longer have that 700 because it just overlaid it. Okay, I'm going to stop here, and we're going to see if there's any questions or comments. You can send in the Q&A section. Itai is looking at the Q&A section. Let's see what we've got here. Itai, do you see any questions come in the Q&A? Someone.
Go ahead, it's more questions. It's more question about some user experience aspects. I suggest that you will continue, and if there will be a question on functionality, I will indicate.
Okay, so someone asked, can you get two records to scroll in tandem? Someone else says, can this be undone? And someone else says, will it tell what fields were changed in overlay? Okay, so no, it will not tell you what fields were changed in overlay, because the whole idea of overlay is it changes every record, every field, excuse me. It replaces. Overlay means it replaces, as opposed to merge, which takes some of one and some of the other. Someone asked, can this be undone? The answer is yes, and I'll show that, even though that's not part of the new metadata editor, but yes, it can be undone. And can you get two records to scroll in tandem? If you scroll one, it does not scroll the other at the same time. But let's take a look at all of those issues. So if I were to save this record, I could put it back to what I had before I overlaid. What used to be in the old metadata editor was tools, view versions. We could look at another version and then here we are, view related data view versions. And then I could take a previous version. So here I've got the one on the left is the one that I just overlaid. And here I've got previous versions. For example, I'm going to view this one. So this is the previous version. You can see here, let me show you how I did that again. Oops, I closed all my records, so that's no problem. I'll just go to my list here and take it right from here, right? So if I want to get the previous version, someone said, can it be undone? So tools view versions is now view related data view versions. And then in the view versions, I can see the most recent one, view it, and say, okay, that's what I want. That looks good. And I have a restore option here on the bottom right. Now, I could have also restored that if I say back to results on the bottom left. I could restore it directly from here. If I say restore, let's do it. Now it's returning it to the previous version. And now I do have and Alicia Hen, and I do have Alicia Hen editor. So that's the can it be undone question. Let's one more time do a search so we can talk about the other issue. So I'm going to say search resources. I will search just for that ISBN. And I will search for that ISBN in WorldCat and do a search. I bet you there's some curious catalogers out there checking why that ISBN in Library of Congress gave something else. So here I'm going to do view. Now again, as soon as I do view, record opens on the right that I'm viewing. This one here, which is now collapsed, is going to open on my left. And the record, which was collapsed, will be open. So let's take a look at that. We're going to do view. There we are. Now the question about scrolling in tandem, no. If I scroll this one on the right, it scrolls. If I scroll this one on the left, it scrolls. I assume when you said in tandem, you meant that I scroll one, it scrolls the other. No. And by the way, I wouldn't necessarily want one to scroll and the other to scroll at the same time, because it might be if one record is much shorter than the other and I want to look at the 600 fields, the 6XX fields of one and the 6XXs of the other, I might want the top of this one and the bottom of this one. But in any case, no, they don't scroll together. Now, let's just see if there's anything urgent in the questions. I know everybody's question is very important. However, we have other topics we want to show too. So let me just take a look what we got here. Post overlay, I mean. Yeah, so that was post overlay. Post overlay, I did undo. I mean, I restored the previous version. If you release the record without saving, it'll remain the same, right? Yes, if you release a record, anytime I make all kinds of changes to a record, for example, if I say contemporary Taiwan women writers and artists, and I don't save and I release the record, which would be under record actions, release the record, it's not going to save. Are you sure you want to release? Yes, it doesn't save it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next development. Here we go. So back to our list. Holdings record management on the library level. Okay, this is a nice one. They're all nice ones, but you know, some of them are very nice. They're all very nice, actually. Some of them are super very nice. Okay, and this is one of those super very nice ones. So let's talk about a little background here. Just before we get into holding record management on the library level. First of all, it means that when we're looking at a holdings record, it's possible, let me get into a holdings record just to show somebody. Control-I, edit. So the development is that we can now control which users can create and edit which holdings records based on the subfield B of the holdings record, or what's known as the library. So I can say, or I can define, that user X can create and loan records which are for the main library, holdings records for the main library, and user Y can update and create holdings records for the engineering library, and user Z can do any holdings record of any library. So when I say library, I mean the subfield B of the 852 field of the holdings record. That's the first introduction. The second introduction is this is done via roles. In every role in Alma, roles being R-O-L-E, not that type of round bread that we have with dinner. Every role, or to spin around on the ground is also role, actually, but we mean roles, the things a user can do in a system. Every role consists of privileges. And the privilege that we're talking about here is called physical inventory manage. And if we want to see all of the roles, which include the privilege physical inventory manage, we can come here to the configuration menu. I click configuration on the bottom left. Let me unexpand this while I'm here. And then we can go to user management, and then we can go to the privileges report. And inside the privileges report, we could go to the roles report and do it also, actually. But in the privileges report, it's a little easier because now we're going to go according to that privilege, which is called physical inventory manage, which, let's do that, physical, hold on, here, Control F. Okay, I don't know why it opened that one. Physical inventory manage. Oh, and I got to spell it properly. Okay, so one role that has physical inventory manage is the physical inventory operator limited. Another one is the repository manager. Another one is the purchasing operator, purchasing manager, and physical inventory operator. So we're going to talk now about the physical inventory operator and the repository manager, because for our purposes, we want to deal with a user who will be able to edit and create holdings records only in one specific library. And let's take a look at that user. And then we're going to log in as that user and see what's going on. So first of all, I'm going to go back to the Alma menu. And let's retrieve a user, users. And that user will be, I forgot the first name, but the last name is Matar. Madeline Matar. So Madeline Matar now has, if I'm going to scroll down to the roles, has physical inventory operator, physical, and repository manager. But I'm going to delete those so that we can add them together and we can all see the new scope that allows for the new functionality. And then we're going to go into the metadata editor and see it live. So if I were to add to this user, add role, physical inventory operator, physical inventory operator, I'll add it, add role, and now we see that in the scope, I can put in either the name of the institution, which would mean that this user can update a record in any library, or I can choose a specific library such as the engineering library. And of course, I'm going to make this active. So now Madeline has a scope of physical inventory operator only for the engineering library. And let's give Madeline another role, which will be repository manager. Control F, repository manager. And also here, we're going to give the scope of engineering library. And we'll make it active. Save. Now, I don't want to get into now which roles control which functions. That will be for another day. But for our purposes of Madeline going in, searching, viewing, creating, and for the purposes of you, the viewers, seeing how a role can include the scope, that sufficed. So now we've got the physical inventory operator, the repository manager, both of scope, engineering, library, and we're going to save. Great. Now, in another browser, let's pop in to this environment, the same Alma, and let's log in as Madeline. And let's do a little test here. I'm going to go look at a record which includes President Fu Su Nien, who was the first president of the National Taiwan University. And you can see here, this record has one holdings record in the engineering library. And if Madeline clicks here on the holdings, she can edit this record and she can push it to the metadata editor. She does have the option to edit. However, if we were to look for a different one, for example, Sandberg Leaning Work Lead, and I were to take this one here. Now, this one is only in the main library. And if I were to view the holdings for this one, I do not have an option to edit. I do not have an option to push to the metadata editor because my scope does not allow it. If Alicia has these scopes in the institution, so if she were to look for the same records, this one here, and of course we want to do that not as a user. He's not a user in our institution, not yet anyway. So if I were to take this one now and do holdings, this user can edit this one. And if we say keywords, Sandberg, women work will to lead. Okay. And we take a record here, the same record, and we look at the holdings. This user, Alicia, you see I'm Alicia, is looking at this record and can edit, push to the metadata editor when it has ulink, which is the main library. And if I switch now, same exact record, Madeline cannot edit. So that's the first thing, the ability to edit records based on the 852 subfield B, which is the library. Before I stop for the questions, let's see now the creation of new records. So let's say Madeline comes to the new metadata editor. Here she is. And she's in records. Let's pop into Mark 21. Okay. And let's say now Madeline is going to make a new bibliographic record. She chooses a template and she starts cataloging, and she catalogs 245.14, the new metadata editor, a success story by Jimmy Smith. Okay. And we'll just make enough here to save Smith Jimmy. Let me throw in a cataloging here. F3. Let's see what we got. Is there a Library of Congress subject heading called cataloging? Sure there is. Interesting. Let's take a look at that. Seen from information, or see also information organization, and then they spell it the British way and the American way. Okay, so select. Now I've got a basic record. I'm going to save it. Now, I'm Madeline. Keep in mind, I'm Madeline. Madeline comes along now. See, I'm Madeline here. If Madeline were to try now to create a new holdings record, and she would say Control F, that she wants to do the art library, general collection, save. She's got an error message here on the bottom. New library and location not in scope. By the way, we're going to be changing this message to new library not in scope. However, if she was, instead of choosing the art library, she did Control F, and she chose the engineering library, which we all saw was her scope, and something else, general, and save. Now there's no problem. It says record saved at 4:32 p.m. And just for finishing up, because in case I ever use this in another demo, I'm going to add an item and save it. Okay, so what did we see? Then I'm going to go look at the chat. What did we see here? Just doing a quick summary. We gave a user a scope for physical inventory operator, and for repository manager, we gave a scope, which was the level of the library. Then we went to go see if I view a holdings record in the engineering library, I can edit it. If I view a holdings record not in the engineering library, I cannot edit it. Then we saw that if this user comes into the metadata editor and tries to create a holdings record, then if he tries to put in there, or she tries to put in there a library which is not in his scope, he can't save it. If he tries, or she tries to put in a library which is in her or his scope, then she or he can save it. Okay, so let's take a look now at the chats, and I'm going to try to keep the chats to our specific subject. So let me scroll up a bit here, and if there's anything that came in, Itai, that you want to point out, go ahead, but I can read here also. Will the current operator authorizations transfer over to the new Alma version? Okay, it's the same Alma version. There is no, there's nothing to transfer over. What we've done here is made an additional option for an additional scope. There have been times in the past also when we've added different scopes. There's nothing to convert, because it's not like it used to appear one way in an old system and a different way in the current system. It's just a new option that if you want to use, you can use it. Someone asks, how do I view and apply rules in the new metadata editor? Rules have not yet been released, which is why here on the top to the right of templates, you see rules grayed out. In the new metadata editor, rules are not yet supported. It will be supported in a future version. Before the official rollout, it will be there, and we're going to have another session like the one we have now, like the ones we've had in the past, where we talk about the rules. Someone asks, would those with that role default to the institution, or do we need to edit it after implementation? If anyone has that role now, the role will stay exactly as it is. The role is on the level of the institution. It will remain that way. If you want to apply it to a library, you can.
Yoel, if I may
Yes.
add another, I think one of the popular question in general is about ad holdings. Currently, ad holdings, as you probably saw, is coming from the new menu, and you can choose when you are coming from a bibliographic record. On March release, we are going to add a similar capability also to the ad inventory menu. So it's kind of be more focused on the area of ad inventory. I hope it's answer repeated questions from several people.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, Itai, what's here in the new holdings will be here in the ad inventory.
Yes, exactly.
Will it be also under the new or only in the ad inventory?
Both under the new.
I'm just asking in case they're about to ask. Okay, so it'll be both of them. Okay, great. Okay, let's see if there's anything else urgent. I'm going to scroll to the end and scroll up now. Okay, it looks like people are sending in questions and answering themselves. Okay, someone wrote, okay, now I got it. Okay, so we're going to move on now. It's 37. We got another 22 minutes for another 2 topics. Okay, so next, what is our next topic? We'll just go to our official list here. The template management model. Okay, so now it's managing templates. So let's go take a look here about managing templates. Let's go back to the metadata editor. So I'm going to click here, show metadata editor, and immediately it opens. Okay. And we know it immediately opens because I never really closed it. It's always on. You probably recall the always on from previous sessions. I'm going to close these. I'm going to expand my records list again. I'm going to pin it open, and we're in business. Okay. So templates. I'm going to switch to the templates tab. You see here, we've got records, templates, and rules, where my mouse is moving here. And we'll go to templates. Okay, so the reason I don't see any templates right now, or I see only this one here with HYS, is because I'm filtering. I'm going to unfilter and start explaining. So for templates, we have private and shared. There's also community. I'm going to click the community and apply. So now I've also got community. So you already saw the first thing. The first thing is that we can determine, or the user can determine which templates does he want to view. So when we click these, the filter list, we've got a scopes here. If I only want to see the institution, I'll unclick community, do apply, and now we only see private and shared. If I come along and do community and apply, now I see private, shared, and community. I'm going to remove the community because I want to do some searches and I want to keep it small. So I will remove that and apply. Then I can start searching for text inside these. Like maybe I want only those with the word computer in it. So here I get only those. I even only have to type COM because of what I've got here. And that immediately filtered only by those with the string COM. And that's a string. It's like, for those who know SQL and stuff, it's like I have a percent at the beginning and a percent at the end. Whereas if I would have put PUT, so I get anything with PUT somewhere in it. So the search here is a string inside. It can be at the beginning, the end, or inside. Okay, so that's a way I can search for a specific template. Someone asks if templates existed in the old editor. Yes, they did. Let's get rid of that search so we see them all. We have different icons here. There's an icon which is blue. Let me ask, who knows? Let's see if it's intuitive. Who knows the difference between a blue icon and a gray icon in the shared section? Send in your answers. Let's see who knows. A blue icon and a gray icon. What is the difference? Gray equals private. Nope. Private are under the privates. Someone answered yes. So gray is inactive. No. Blue created by the library, gray by network. Okay, almost. Gray is out of the box. That's right. So someone said gray is out of the box. Someone said blue is community. No, community is under the community section. Someone said this. I'm going to put this out. Someone sent in the correct answer. I'm not mentioning anyone's name here because we keep it private for so we don't get in trouble mentioning someone's name. So someone said this: gray equals out of the box, blue is created by the institution, and that is correct. Someone wrote, we're terrible. No, you're not terrible. Okay, so the blue ones were created by the institution. The gray ones are ones which are out of the box. Therefore, if I were to right-click a blue one, I right-click the blue one, I can edit it, I can delete it. However, if I right-click one that's gray, I cannot edit, there's no edit, and I cannot delete. It's an out-of-the-box one. It comes with Alma. I can't change it. There's a lot of things that come with Alma you can't change, but you can duplicate it and make a new one. So let's create our own just for a moment. I'm going to take this RDA fields for print, and let's edit. And I'm going to change, who can tell me what is a correct 336 for electronic? What should I have in the subfield A? I'm just going to write electronic. If anyone wants to send in what I should have there, text. Okay. Oh, I already have text. Unmediated volume. I'll take one of these others here. I'm going to take a cartograph. Look at all these interesting ones here. I'm going to take, there's one called notated movement. That sounds interesting. Let's take the performed music. Okay, that's a nice one. Let's take something else here because I just want to change it around and save it for something. And this will be audio. And this I will make, I don't know if this is correct or not, but just so I have an audio cassette. All right, let's pretend we just got an audio cassette. So now I'm going to save this. Let's actually do it this way. I'm going to say duplicate. I'm going to call this RDA fields for music. RDA fields for music. I'll call it cassette, however you spell cassette. C-A-S-S-E-T-T-E. Okay. Save. All right. So now here's my audio mic for cassette. I duplicated it and it got created. Now I'm just going to change this here. We'll say music. This will be performed music, and this will be audio, and this will be audio cassette. Wonderful. Save. So now I duplicated the RDA fields for print. I called it RDA fields for music cassette. Now we have another one. Someone asked, can you restrict the search to template names only? That's what I'm searching here, the template names. If I say audio, I do not get this template that I made, and that's a field. It's getting by the name. I'm searching here, I'm getting it by the name. Okay, So let's now see how this can be used, because there's various ways it can be used. Let me get here something music, just so I have a record. I'm going to do Control E. Who knows what Control E stands for? Who's been using Alma long enough to already know Control E? Send it in if you know what Control E is. Expand from template, that's right. Okay, so I've got a record here, which is music. We'll pretend it's a audio cassette. And I want to add into here, you're going to see a very nice new feature, which maybe you've already seen because it's been live not that long, but it's been out there. I'm going to add fields from that template to this record, because as you can see, this record is missing my RDA fields 336, 337, 338. Let's take a look. I'm going to say Control E or editing actions, expand from template. And now I'm going to choose that one which I had before. CASS, there she is. And now I can either override the template on top of this, I can add all of the fields to the template to this, or only the ones that are missing. I'm going to add only those that are missing. And now the 336, 337, 338 have all been added. It's almost like doing a normalization routine. I can automatically add from the template and save, and it's going to go into its regular place here. Now, let me do it slightly different, just so you can see the full power of this. I'm going to come here, get that one again. I'm in the templates. Here it is. And I'm going to add another field here. I'm going to add a 650, just so I got something. 650, 0, tapes. I'll make it a 4, so no one says, that's not a Library of Congress heading. Okay. Save. So now my template's a little different. Now, let's go back to that record, switching to the Records tab. And let's get scratch music. And let's say I have a 654. I just put in there whatever just for our purposes. My template has a 650, Control E. I'll get the cassettes. Add missing. Okay. Here's my 336, 337, 338. I did not add my 650 second indicator 4 with the word tapes. It did not add it because I already have a 650 second indicator 4. I'm going to say Control E again. And I'm going to say add all. Beautiful. Now it did add it. Very nice feature. I'm sure you'll agree. I can already imagine people making all kinds of templates instead of the normalization rules, because the normalization rule, you know how powerful they are. They're wonderful. But I need to make a normalization rule. Then I need to put it inside a normalization process. And then it needs to be run via a menu to go do enhance the record. Okay. I think.
Yoel?
Yes.
Hi, this is Itai. I think it's good from the questions I'm seeing now to emphasize a few things around the templates. So first, I would like to emphasize that both templates and rules and records in general are not being changed or any kind of touching. The same templates, rules, records are available both through the classic MD editor and the new MD editor, through the whole process. There's no changing or anything you need to migrate from that part. So that's important to mention. Another thing, I don't know, Yoel, if you had the chance just to mention it, the ability to control the templates that are being used through the new menu for the record.
Yeah. We showed that in the past, and we've got a presentation on it.
Correct. But if you can just give a glimpse of how it's achievable, because then it will help to understand you can control it as a user, and you don't need to control the list of templates itself, like hiding the out of the box and so on.
Okay, so let's do that right now. And I'll also point everyone's attention to our September 8th session. Was it the September 8th? Here it is. Templates display configuration. So on the same page that I sent out to everybody already, which has the January 19th session, the September 8th session, and then these are all from previous ones. We've got this template display configuration, which allows each user to have a default set. When I'm in, before I even look at the PowerPoint, when I'm here and do new, these are templates. These are names of templates. And every user may want different templates to appear here. So we've got here at the bottom, templates display configuration. Now, I'm going to do a print screen, Control-Function print screen, just so you can see a little change. So this is what I've got now. I'll leave it there. Now, let's go back here. So here I'm going to scroll down, templates display configuration. When I'm in the templates tab here, I have every possible template that exists. When I'm here and do new, this is new based on a template, and it's only the ones I really want. I don't have that new one here about the cassettes, for example, because if this is collapsed, which is quite common, and I say new, I'm not gonna, I don't even have the other templates in front of me. So I can come to the templates display configuration, and from here, decide which ones I want to display in the menu. So I'm going to take the one which I called cassettes. I didn't realize there'd be so many. Here we go. And I'm going to say here, display. So now it's display in menu this. This is based on every user. It's not an institution one. And I don't want my audio CDs template RDA. And I don't want the DC app one. By the way, the little lock here means it's a out-of-the-box one that can't be changed. So now I'll save. So I removed the My Audio CDs, I removed the DC app one, and I added the cassette one. Here it is, the cassette one. Save. Now, when we say new, I don't even have to log out and log in. Now you see I have RDA fields for music cassette. Let's see if we can do this all the way. I'm going to take this picture and we'll stick that right here. It's almost like I'm making a scenario for a development here. So that's the original. And then my new one, let's take a look at that one now. We'll see the before and after. Take this one. Here's my new one. Let's see if we can even put it here. Great. So my new one is on the right. You can see my new one. I added the RDA fields for music cassette, and I removed the My Audio CDs template RDA. So every user gets his own list. Okay, Itai, anything else? Because I do want to show a little bit at least about the tabs, the new tab way that we have everything organized, because we got only 5 minutes.
I suggest you continue.
Okay, great. So improved tab layout. Let's go take a look at the improved tab layout. So inside the navigation pane, let's close that. Okay. I'm going to pin this open. I'm opening now. This is the navigation pane. I'm going to click the little thumbtack on the bottom, pin it. So now it's open. So we've got here the records and the templates. And we already focused on the templates. Now we're going to look at the records. So I have, on purpose, before the session, I opened a lot of records of different types. And I've got Dublin Core. It gives me the name of the record type, the record format, and then how many are there. So I've got Dublin Core, 6 of them. Mark 21 bib, I've got 21. And now there are more, but in order to save space, the other types get opened when I click this little icon here. So now I see the others. I've got 1 in Unimark, and I've got 3 holdings records, and then I've got different authorities. Now, some institutions in some countries primarily use only 1 record format and 1 type of authority, or maybe 2, and there's really no issue. But we need to keep in mind there are some institutions, especially in Europe, who have multiple formats, in Asia also. Core Mark, CN Mark, Unimark, Mark 21, Dublin Core, a lot of institutions that have a lot of digital are using Dublin Core. So there's a clear indication of which ones appear. And the only ones which appear here will be ones that you have a format for. I know we only have 3 minutes, but I'm going to pop into the configuration for 1 second. You and your institutions will not necessarily see all of those formats. I see all of those formats because in my metadata configuration list, because I like to show all different things depending on who the audience is, I happen to have a lot of active profiles. But most people will not have that many active profiles, so you won't see that big long list. Let's pop back into the metadata editor. And so there's an indication of how many records I have of each type, and merely by clicking on it, I get those records. Now, another very important feature is that the menu up on top here is dynamic and responsive to the type of record I have open. Let's take a Mark 21 bib, because for this audience, Mark 21 bib is a very popular format. If I have a Mark 21 bib record open, for example, you can see I can order, I can add inventory. If, however, I were to have an authority record open, for example, an LC Names authority record. Here I've got an authority record. And you can see I no longer have, for example, add inventory, and I no longer have order the grayed out. 1659, 1 minute. If now, not only is it responsive and dynamic here, but also if I go into split editor mode, let me go back here, let me take one of these, let me go into split editor mode, and now in the right pane, I'm going to put the authority record. So now, even in the split editor mode, I'm focused now on the right. I know I'm focused on the right because the top of it is blue instead of gray. I don't have the option to order. I don't have the option for inventory. However, if I now focus on the left side, now I do have order, it's no longer grayed out, and I do have inventory because now I'm looking at a Mark 21 bib. Okay, that brings us to the end. We did cover everything. Let's take a look if there's any urgent chats in here. I don't see anything. Someone says, do I have to give the role you were talking about for editing a holding to all operators of a specific library? If you have a group of catalogers and you want them to only to be able to edit records in library X, then yes, you need to give them the scope of library X. If they have the scope of the entire institution, then it will work such that they can edit a record in any library. Okay, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will be posting the recording to the education and webinar page, and we will send out a link to the recording. Have a nice day, and thanks for joining.
Thank you.